Yeah, welcome to Academy of Tone number 92. Yeah, you ain't seen nothing yet. We have no clue. No, it's about tones. I call it tones on demand. So it's about yeah, your sounds, and we try to get them for you.
Yeah.
Before we dive into that topic, I want to report a little bit about my last Saturday. I was so lucky I could actually play a gig, a live gig.
You lucky bastard.
Yes.
Yeah.
And yeah, we had a nice, very small venue, pretty packed, and it was Alex Bayreuth. Where is his guitar? Here. Okay, Alex Bayreuth. And
so it was a Mercury edition and an Iridium edition.
Exactly.
Together on stage. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a little picture that we can show you from our stage. Two fat cabs, me using my Mercury edition on my pedal board, and Alex using his Iridium on his cabinet, but having the pedal board in front of him. Yeah, it was kind of a nice thing because we didn't know what to play. So I played a few songs that he was looking on my fretboard, what I was doing, and vice versa.
Yeah.
And I was checking out some stuff for myself to see if it's good enough for live use. I'm not talking about it, but that's why I actually came to that gig, because I asked Alex if he would be willing to test my gear, and he said, just join in.
Okay. Oh, so
Yeah.
that was his band playing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, this was a lot of fun. I made my tests, everybody happy. And yeah, back to our topic today. Yeah, sounds. And that was an experience, again, having different tones from two guitar players, both playing Strats, but slightly different styles, because Alex is more high output pickups into the Iridium, and me, I'm the vintage guy. But, you know, complements each other very nicely.
Yeah.
And good. So today, Kai is with us again, Kai Sonnhalter. And we thought about, we have so many requests where people ask for tones.
Yeah.
I mean, you do the customer service and all the emails end up at your email account. And of course I get the same stuff also.
Yeah. And the thing is, when it comes to tips on how to dial in a particular sound, that's always something that makes me consult you, because I want your opinion on that.
Yeah.
And your ears are a lot better than mine, and of course your experience. So that's something that I seldomly answer on my own. I always ask you first. So
yeah, well, the point is, I'm pretty convinced that with the two amps, with the Mercury and the Iridium edition, we can almost get any classic rock, blues, jazz, and metal tone. So
yeah.
the range of these two amps is pretty wide already. And for me, it's always the point that I know that some people don't find what they are looking for. And of course I try to give hints, and I have to admit it's kind of a pretty complex topic.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the advantage of digital products is that they can simply store presets, and anything in a preset is kind of tailored to suit that one sound. Let's call it the Santana sound, for example. And then the only thing that varies is probably a guitar, because you can use the phones out or the direct out.
Yeah.
And all the rest is already in the box, and the only thing that could not match that tone would be your guitar.
Yeah.
And then when I'm a bit critical on the digital, on most digital stuff, it's like, it is the taste is so strong of that it takes away the individuality of that guitar.
Yeah.
So it's for me, as being the nerd, I'm losing something. That's why I'm not such a fan of that, of most of those products. But I have to admit, for a lot of people, it simply works. You plug in, you get what you want if you press that certain preset, and bam.
Yeah, and that's in terms of everything. It's, you know, the right amp model with the on the right channel with the right EQ settings, maybe even with the right IR. Because that's a big part of any particular sound. So yeah, that's an advantage, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, we started with our sound overlays. They still exist and they are still cool. So these can be placed, simply on top of your amp, like this, and then here is your AMP1 Iridium, and you see the numbers where to dial in the knobs, and there's several sets, modern metal, classic metal, different styles, from rock, to give you examples.
Yeah. By the way, this is something that people ask me too. You can, in our web store, you can either buy this very thing, which comes just like this, but you can also, and this is on the same page as where you can buy it, you can also just download it for free and print it out yourself.
Yeah.
If you want to do that, just on a piece of paper. It's.
It is a carton thing with with the cutted holes. So we did it the most elegant way. But if you want to save money, just download it and use it. We are not making any money on this. This is just to help you.
Just to help you guys.
Yeah. And we got another one for the Mercury edition. And I mean, this is always good to have a starting point. And now the next level is kind of, does this match your cabinet? Because if you play with a cabinet, we don't know if you play one of our cabinets, that we kind of know what they would sound like, or if you have a totally different cabinet. And there are different styles of cabinets. I mean, we have a Blue Box, there are 16 cabinets in 4x12s, 2x12s, open back, close back, different 10-inch speakers, 12-inch speakers.
And it makes a tremendous difference which cabinet you use with which sound. So the cabinet or the IR, whatever you choose to use, is a big and very important part of the sound.
Exactly. So, this set up front gives you maybe the idea that any of the settings that we provide, being it on these sound overlays or whatever we do, might need to be refined a little bit and tweaked to your cabinet and guitar. So the signal chain is guitar, guitar cable, blah, blah, blah. Maybe there's a pedal in between, then there's an amplifier, and then there's a cabinet. And this is the classic way how all the great tones have been created.
Yeah.
If we look for the requests that we have got from you guys in quite a lot of numbers here, which is very nice. So we have had a nice interaction with you. We can tell that all the sounds that you asked us for are classic tones that have been created with some of those great old amps and maybe a pedal, but that's it, So what we can do is we can give you a little bit info on the signal path and, of course, the settings of the amp, or in our case, the AMP1, how to get close to that tone.
Yeah.
I have done a lot of A/B comparisons where I can prove that if I just A/B an amplifier to AMP1, I can go, or I can get pretty close. And here is one little thing we can show up front. If we have that on video, I'm not sure. It's a tweet Bassman. Somebody on Instagram asked, I think me on my personal account, for a 59 tweet Bassman, I think. And we do have that video. Do we have that video? Oh yeah, cool. Let's see. By the way, I was recording that in Hamburg with all the vintage guitars, and you know, every time I get an amp in my fingers, I try to make an A/B thing and try to get the best tone out of that original amp, and you know, that sets the standard, and then I try with my A/B switch to come close to that. And I think we have that tweed Bassman, a nice vintage amp, great for blues. Academy of Tone. This is the A/B comparison between a real 1955 Fender Bassman 410 combo and with all original RCA tubes, blah blah blah, 6L6 versus our AMP1 Mercury edition on the clean channel, yeah, with a little bit of power soak, and here we go. Anyway, you could hear AMP1 versus 55 Bassman 4x10. Let's make a few pictures for you guys so you see the settings. This is the AMP1 and this is the Bassman. And we need also the custom control tone, which is about 9 o'clock ISC. Yeah. That's important as it's a tweed amp, so you have to put the custom control tone a little bit down and then readjust all the other knobs. I make a little video as well so you can see. Bam, here is the tone on the clean, volume on 10, there is bass on 3, middle on 6, treble on 9. And these are the settings on the Bassman. Cool. There you have it. Getting close to a Fender Bassman from 1955. Yeah, you can see this is the way how to compare it. You could see when I was moving the foot on the A/B switch. Yeah. Between the two pictures, and I shot my own video, which then ends up at Kai's desk, and he puts that video or parts of it into our new Blookipedia knowledge base, where you can dial in how to get a sound of a 55, 59 tweed Bassman. I have to say this is an original 55 Bassman that has been converted to a 59 style. Okay. If I used to have one that I bought for the company I worked 27 years for, but it's still there and I didn't pay for it. I bought it and I left it there and it was a bit too expensive. Today I regret it because they went up in price so much.
So maybe it's still there.
It is there, I'm sure. It's covering dust because nobody loves it except for me. Anyway, so 59 Bassman or 55 converted to 59. This is what you heard, and what I find always very astonishing is usually I get so close that you can hear there is a slight difference. You know, I didn't try to get this amp 100%. I did my clean channel, and then by tweaking the knobs, I think I'm pretty close. So if you don't have another amp to compare, you couldn't tell. If I put my AMP1 into that same looking cabinet.
Plus, I mean, take two Bassmans and they're going to sound different too.
Yeah,
so.
exactly. That's
and it's, I mean, the discipline is not to match it like 100%, but it's, I mean, all you want to do is show that it can be done, and it sounds good, it feels good, and I mean that's what we want.
Exactly. Yeah, and we started to get these tones now into this Blugipedia Soundwegweiser. It's the English version is not online yet.
Yeah,
but
and the whole thing is still in the making. We took some sounds that we had and put them in there, and we're still working on that. And like Thomas said, there's only a German version available right now.
But next week we have more.
Yeah,
you will see.
Yeah. I mean that's what this episode is for. Also, I mean we're going to get to some tones later on, and everything that we do today is going to be in there next week. So
yeah. And so keep sending us requests. Yeah. So how can you find that on the Blugipedia then?
So once it's on there, we can see my screen here. So this is an internal thing so far, and it's only in German, as you can see. But what we basically did is we give you 3 choices to search for your sound. The first one is by amp type. So if you have a particular amp that you want to match with your AMP1, that's the first possibility. The second one is the tone of a certain band or a certain guitar player, and the third one is a music genre.
Yeah.
These are the 3 things that you can filter by. So in this case, we had the Fender Bassman, which is an amp. So this is the list of the amps that we have so far. Well, basically, it's not amps. It's categories of amps.
Yeah.
And the Bassman, of course, is a tweed amp. So we take those. Right now, we have 2 tweed amps in here. This is the Bassman. I click on it, and then you can say which guitar are you playing, because that also, as we've learned before, makes a difference.
Yeah.
In this case, we're choosing the S-style guitar, and then it says here, if you want to match a Fender Bassman sound, then we recommend you use the AMP1 Mercury Edition on the clean channel. And you have the settings here: clean volume, bass, mid, treble, the position of the custom control, tone knob, boost, on, off, and that's basically all you need. And then the video that you just saw is in here, and just as a comparison, we also have the settings on the Bassman, so you know which sound we're talking about.
Yeah, I mean that's also important, because like the original Bassman sounds very different from depending on the settings. So when I played the Bassman, I was checking in both inputs, and then there are Bassmans with 4 inputs. This is the one with 2 inputs. I checked the inputs, tried to find the sweet spot of that amp that I thought, that's why I would take this amp, and
that of course is the first step, because you want to have that, you want that amp to make that sound that you expect it to make.
Yeah. So that was my process in getting there.
Yeah.
But for you guys, that's the way how you get to inspiring tones from our Blugipedia on our website. And the idea is to have kind of an ever-growing library of settings, so in case you don't get what you want, you can look there, and you will find stuff, and then maybe you get even inspired. It's like you buy an amp, and even myself, I get inspired by other people. When I meet other people, different settings of, what are you doing there? I would never said it like that, because everybody has this, I always do my thing, and then it's like, oh yeah, I do my thing. but sometimes it's exciting to step.
Yeah. I just had that experience because in order to match that clean tone of the song we just played,
Yeah.
I dialed the clean custom control all the way to the right, which I never do.
Yeah.
So
Who cares?
Yeah, and it sounded good to me and it felt
Yeah.
good to me.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, talking about that song, I played that last week with Alex, and I've never played that song, but I always liked that song because I found it's kind of a entertaining one, you know, ain't seen nothing, baby. And then I looked up in the internet what's the story about that, and I think the guy is called Randy Bachman, Bachman Turner Overdrive. The story is killer. I have to tell you, the story goes like they recorded the whole album, and the A&R guy from the record company listened to the album and said, we're missing the hit.
I don't hear a singer.
Yeah, I don't hear a single. What? So, and then some band member said, you know, you have that demo that you know, it's not finished because, yeah, and he said, like, I can't play this to you. This is only a demo. And I take the piss out of my brother who stutters, and so this was only like, you know, as a memo and kind of teasing his brother a little bit.
Just a fun kind of version that they did for their own.
Yeah. And then the A&R guy actually insisted to take exactly that recording, no fixing, nothing. And then he said, you know, my guitar is out of tune. I can't leave that. And then the way they fixed it was like they put in a very long delay on this original recording, and they put it through a Leslie speaker that had broken tweeters, and they used coffee cups, and that's the sound of their lead guitar. It's killer. I like the story because it shows you how creative you can be in the studio, and it's all about human results. And then, you know, could you plan to do something like that? Maybe not, you know?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that story. Yeah, okay. When looking at questions, I mean, there's a few things that we always get, and we actually have some settings for that. But what I like, I remember when I was in Hamburg, I had Nils Finkeisen there, and he played some metal. Everybody knows I'm not a metal guy, so maybe we can show you some of our metal tones. And he even had a baritone guitar. Maybe we start with the baritone because this is kind of something.
It's not on here yet.
It's not on here yet. Okay. So what do you have? Have you got?
We do have some metal tones here. In this case,
Metallica? Is this one?
Yeah. In this case, we have like 2 or 3 different guitar players or sound band sounds that we had. For example, Metallica. And then he was playing a Super Strat kind of guitar. And of course we use the AMP1 Iridium edition for that. The classic channel, these are the settings, everything you need to know, and this is the video. I could play it now, but I think we wouldn't have the audio on the stream, right? So that doesn't make any sense.
Maybe. How loud is this? I checked with my clipboard. Yeah, sure. You know, you ain't seen nothing. Here's my clipboard. Where's the speaker?
It's here and here.
Okay, try it. Okay, and so on. Anyway, I hope it sounds kind of. I mean, this was a cheesy laptop speaker, but you get the message. You can see, you can see the settings, the guitar.
Yeah.
And
we have another one. I think we have Randy Rhoads also here, and I think that it was not an LP set. It was a Super Strat again.
Okay, let's
Different
check that
settings.
out. Okay, was the sound anything like okay, or was it totally crap? Let's try that one as well,
Okay,
just for
we'll
fun.
just do it, yeah.
Yeah. And so on.
So that's recorded with a phone, with a phone microphone.
Yeah. Played through,
Through a laptop speaker.
re-recorded with my clip-on mic for my voice. Well, anyway.
You get the idea.
You get the idea, but you get the settings, and that's the important thing.
Yeah.
Because this shows you how to dial in, EQ and gain, and that's that is the challenge. By the way, I'm reading some comments here. Can we get Uli Roth and Brian May tones out of Mercury? Well, guess what? Uli John Roth plays Mercury. So if you see some of his solo shows, he always uses the AMP1. And since I played with Uli, I can tell you his secret. It's very simple. You need his Sky guitar, and the Sky guitar has a very powerful built-in preamp. And this guitar, he told me, has 90 dB of boost. But so he has tons of output if needed, but it's all at hand on the guitar. So he uses the clean channel, puts this kind of, I think, on 10, and then puts the master on 10 because he plays loud. Yeah. And the rest is the guitar. That's old school. It's like a 100-watt plexi kind of thing, and he has the control with his guitar. So that's the way how he does it. And then he discovered, I can actually reduce the master too when I play special shows in smaller venues, or like pre-shows or after-show gigs, or his. I think he did a video tour where he did some stuff, and so he found out, I'm getting the same sound just at lower volume, which is a big issue with his old school tube amps, because he doesn't like power soaks and he doesn't like all that stuff, and AMP1 is doing that for him. So that's the Uli. And when we talk about Brian May, I have done some episode about Brian May last year, I guess. It was an early one. Try 13 Academy of Tone in beginning April, May last year. I think this was when I was doing the Red Special and some Brian May tones.
Or come back to the knowledge base in 2 weeks and you find it there.
Exactly, because we want to put that stuff also into the knowledge base. Yeah. But here's the main thing for Brian May is the range master, because without the range master, any amp wouldn't do the job. I mean, he plays AC30s, but this is what's giving him the kind of signature tone. Yeah. Very important. And just to answer the question about, we had questions about my hero, where is it? Richie Blackmore. I have done a few episodes on Blackmore, and Blackmore uses Range Master in the early days, and then later on he has the preamp of his Iwa tape machine, which Bernd Meiser of BSM puts into pedals. So this is another thing you have to know. Some tones are created in the combination of guitar, pedal and amplifier, and this goes back even for the early days. Just for fun, I had a request from Matt Gonzalez, I don't know, it was on Facebook, and they talked about Jake A. Lee tones. And guess what? Oops, there was the good old OD1 involved back in the days. So what I can try is I hope there's a battery in there, because I bought it when it came out. This pedal is, again, vintage, but I was there.
So let's hope it's not the original battery that was in there when you bought it.
Well, we find out in a second. So I hope this is a shielded cable. Let me see if there's a... Of course, it is empty. You know what? There's batteries in the shelf.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Number 2. Yep.
Is that the kind of battery that goes in there?
Yep.
Okay.
Of course. That's just the classic. La la la. So, and so Mr. Lee was using Marshalls, you know, metal panels, or later on 800s, but the thing is, that's one thing. But to get us the amp screaming and tight, a pedal like this is needed. Okay, wait a minute.
While you fix this, by the way, I see a question here
Yeah.
by Milan. He says, is there any audible difference between plugging a 9 or 18 volts adapter into the Blue Box? Go to Blugipedia.
Yeah.
It's, by the way, the URL is support.bluguitar.com. Go there and type in probably, I would say, voltage and Blue Box, and you're going to find the answer.
Let me see if that still works. Maybe the pedal is dead because I couldn't see the light. But we find out in a second. Let me see. Okay, this would be guitar. And this would be the pedal. And there is no...
There's light.
There's light.
Yeah.
Okay, yes. So, ich bin es leid. So this is the clean and... let's get rid of the... by the way, I used a different cabinet, but leave it on the cabinet for now. This was the 1967 for that song. Just for a change. Sound more like Bachmann-Turner Overdrive. So anyway, talking about overdrive. So you can hear a tremendous mid-hump.
Yep.
And a low cut. So with that kind of character going into an AMP1, all I have to do, I don't need a foot switch anymore. I switch, wait a minute. Bypass the pedal, give you a classic Marshall Lesk. There it is. Maybe use my stack, more powerful. Put it in my standard position 555, gain on 10. I think I'm on the low gain mode. So this would be the vintage channel, like a metal panel Marshall cranked. Okay. Now, if you put in that kind of OD1 pedal, for me, that's a good example how to get, that ultimate, Jack Elite tone.
Yeah.
And I have done nothing.
So when you started out, you had turned the overdrive almost all the way back. So
Yeah.
it wasn't about the overdrive; it was about the tone shaping of what that thing
the
does.
pre-EQ. Because this is pre-amplifier. I always call this pre-EQ, which means pre the overdrive. And now I increase the level and I use a little bit of the drive from that pedal to make it richer. But I mean, you know, how much more gain do you want? There's more gain if you need. That's the old school recipe. I mean, you know, that's an example how easy it can be. So if you wouldn't have that pedal, I can try to get a similar sound with the AMP1 without that pedal. Okay, that's another challenge. Switch it off, use the modern channel, reduce the gain. Let's compare that to, I used vintage, and here.
That mid hunk is kind of in a different position, but it's still the same recipe.
Yeah. So just to explain you the recipe is, I use a high gain channel, I reduce the gain a touch, and that kind of is doing that pre-EQ thing. That gives you a little bit more bite, and that reduces the low end when you dial it back. So if you have the gain on 10 or the clean volume on 10, it's always kind of very loaded and very bassy. Yeah. So just reduce that, and the missing gain I get from my boost, which is built in. Yeah. And it's not exactly the same tone, but it is in the same ballpark.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I mean, it's like. And this was not even changing anything on the EQs. What is the tone stack setting here? Okay, that's bright. I put it back to the counterclockwise setting. Now, that's too dark.
Yeah.
In that case, I can crank the treble here. Not bad. Okay, we don't have any questions about this one here. That's the example how I think about tones. You know, of course, I understand the recipe of tones, and I know my amp as well, so I know I can find the same or a similar tone at several channels or different channels with several different settings. And I've done the same thing like with Ritchie Blackmore, my hero. I can use one of those, you know, treble boosters, which is killer because this is the original recipe. This thing interacts with the pickups of your guitar. This thing, you know, this is the way Ritchie was doing it, and this gives you more of that flavor. But you can get also somewhere in that territory without that.
Yeah.
For instance, let me do an example with the Strat. I have my Strat. Okay, cool.
By the way, that's also some lesson learned when doing this. Don't be afraid of using extreme settings on your EQs.
Yeah.
You know, for some people they're concerned because they want to turn the treble all the way back, and you know, just because that is an extreme setting, it doesn't mean you can't use it. You just turn the treble all the way up.
Up, yeah.
So,
and it sounded good.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I designed the treble control to be useful in
any
actually
kind of setting.
Any kind of setting. Of course, it needs to be make sense in combination with the other. But I found anything is usable. The only thing you have to be careful with is like when you get the mids too low. I mean, this is something like the guitar loses everything. If there are no mids, there is no guitar.
Yeah. And another thing, and this is also a question that we had a couple of times. Another setting that's not very useful is all three knobs, mids, bass and treble on zero, because then you have no signal at all.
Yeah, that's another classic. It's like, okay, this is kaputt. My guitar was not plugged in. So I show you just for those guys, everything on zero, no tone. So here's my bass. But hey, let's bring in some mids. Let's. And here's the thing about, you know, Richie. I would crank the clean and do it his. I show you a few things. So here's. That's a bit loud, a little bit too loud. That's the clean channel, okay? With that pedal. And that's the original recipe. Okay, I haven't... But you already hear how close we are in this kind of territory with my speaker. If I would... just for the change, I show you a different speaker. So... Stack 67 makes it more Richie because there's that upper mid honk, which is that's kind of the frequencies he's aiming at. You know, he wants that high mid range in a nice way. Yeah. Compare it to my beloved. It's almost too fat, okay?
Yeah.
So let's go back for the 67. So switch off the pedal. What a woolly sound. Sounds shit, and of course. But this would be his recipe. Now let's go to the vintage channel. Give it a bit more. I think I need the high gain mode. Let's switch the amp on because I want that gain. So I want that mids. They are nicer when they come from the pedal, but I boosted now with the. This is just the AMP1 by itself, vintage channel. What is it? Gain 7. Yeah, more mids. 7 on the mids. Treble a little bit lower, I guess 3, something like that.
And full gain mode and dial the gain back a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to get that
Yeah.
cleaner or not as muddy low end.
Yeah.
And that's something many guitar players did in the past. And just by the frequency range where the mids are focused, this is how you can define, where's the magic spot with their guitar and their playing style and how to cut through. So this is why we have different pedals. This is why we have different guitars and settings. Okay, that's the Blackmore thing. And by the way, talking about stuff like that, we can actually, I can show you the EQ thing, which is more analytic in a way. Get this out of the way. And so this is guitar input. And
this needs to go somewhere, right?
Yeah, it's this is an MXR. Do we have an outlet? Everything.
There's one down there.
Can you?
I'll be back in a minute.
Okay, so we'll see. Okay, this video studio has tons of. If not, I have an outlet over here. Long enough?
Yeah, long enough. But let's see if it destroys everything.
Ah, it works. Okay. So when we listen to that thing, okay, bypass. Well, there's no difference because everything is kind of flat in the middle. I was asked about a few sounds like dumble tones. Okay, that expensive dumble. In the end, it is a different curve in the pre-EQ. It is always pre-EQ, clipping, post-EQ. What can I do? I take Ritchie and I boost a little bit. Strut and dumble. Okay, to be totally fair, I haven't played a dumble in years. I know where there is one, but with the COVID thing, we had to postpone it. From what I remember, when I played a dumble years ago, it was more about that kind of lower mid hump. Mm-hmm. So this was kind of chest and not throat. Hertz. Mm-hmm. So I didn't change anything else. That's probably, we need a little bit of that as well. Okay, what happens here? Okay, this is just something very, very rough in that direction. But what happens here is I get the same focus, and this is what dumble is famous for. Focused mids, but to me, not in that range, more in that lower range. And I'm not saying there are different dumbles as well. So anyway, I'm hoping to get hands on one of those very soon, and then I can try to learn what is the special thing about them. But just to... That's Marshall-esque over there. And this is... Maybe I try a different guitar just for a change. Yeah, Les Paul. So I'm not changing anything on the amp, but the you know, Robin Ford or Bonamassa. Bypass.
It makes it sound almost like a different amp. It's
Yeah. So
crazy.
a simple device like that can do a lot of it. Of course, I need a reference to be precise, and that's not everything. I have to check stuff here as well. But this is just to give you the idea of how to get into different territories. And of course, it needs to match, you know, also EQ settings and gain settings. This EQ curve is not the best for other channels, for instance. Hey, and there's another request, Buddy Guy Strat Tone from Vic Tomi, who is actually was at the gig last night. He's from Luxembourg. And by the way, on the gig last Saturday, we had people from Nordrhein-Westfalen, which is 3.5 hours drive. We had Luxembourg, we had Mannheim. Mannheim.
Okay.
Ja, der Gödi war da. Der guckt bestimmt auch zu. Okay, anyway.
Yeah, I mean, live shows are rare these days. So
Yeah,
so
so we had quite some nice audience. Okay, that's this tone here, okay, this is how I wanted to do it. I listen. Okay, let me get inspired by this. In a way, I have to switch on my mobile phone. I have to get a little bit of internet. Is it there? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe. Okay. I do the good old YouTube search, like we all do, and we listen to. What was Buddy Guy? Buddy Guy. So, and Buddy Guy with a nice Strat. Okay, now it's advertising. Oh, fuck. So. Unbelievable. Okay, get. Okay, that's a pretty overdriven Buddy Guy tone. I found that not so special. That's just a cranked amp, but he has that glassy Strat tone. Let me find that somewhere. Where is? Yeah, you know. Here. I think this is the. Okay. Okay, so what we need is maybe a different speaker. Let's try something in the Fender territory. I just swapped to another speaker and I didn't change my Blackmore or anything. And I feel I'm already there. Let me see when this pedal is now out of the signal path, just to prove it. See, the mids are important. This is like... I think I'm there. So what have I done? Easy. I used a Fender style combo. In that case, it was the Tweed 112. I boosted the mids 7.5. The boost was was off most of the time. But here's the thing about the gain. The gain was 6.
So again, you dialed it back.
Yeah. Dial back the gain, because less is more. This is where the magic lies. I do it on my guitar most of the time. That's why I decided to have that much gain on the amp. But you guys, you don't do that treble bleed as much as I do. Therefore, simply dial back the gain and you are already closer. Yeah, so this would be a nice little buddy guy thing. Let me see how many other... we have tons of requests. Ask Lars Johansson. I made that comment. Maybe I can chase some Candlemass tones. Candlemass is that Swedish metal band, and Lars Johansson is the guitar player.
And he should be not too difficult to match that tone, because he's playing Iridium.
So, yeah. So he's on our website. Actually, we should ask him about his settings and use that also on that knowledge base. So that's this one. So many different. What is on this list here? Or do we have some live challenges here? Fender, can you really recreate Gregor Hildenton? Gregor. Yeah. Let's see. Okay, I know Gregor because we played a tour 10 years together. Me, Gregor, and Jerry Donahue, like Telecaster meets Les Paul and meet a Strat guy. But Gregor, for those international guys who don't know Gregor is one of the tastiest blues players, finest blues players we have here in Germany. Well, maybe besides Henrik Freischlader. But Gregor from Münster, he has a nice tone, always had a nice tone. So he comes from the Fender background, so this is where, nice Fender combo and a gold top. This is what... this was my like straight away easy approach without having any reference in my head. But what have I done? I used the clean channel. I didn't use the amp all the way up, but I used the boost. Why did I use the boost? Because when I crank the clean volume all the way up, I have that much low end again, and that's too woofy.
Yeah. So it's again a similar kind of recipe.
Yeah.
You dial the gain in this case the clean volume back
Yeah.
to get rid of that woofiness.
But I used the boost to get it hot enough to do all that thing. And then the thing about Gregor is you have to understand his touch. I'm way harder picking than he is. But he's such a relaxed guy. Just in person, when you meet him, you know, sweet, relaxed. And then, yeah, this, you know, easygoing, always in a good mood. And then... Yeah, you have to think about the mental thing. Okay, and the amp settings for me, yeah, pretty easy. This, are you missing anything? For me, it sounded okayish. Of course, he is the total nerd. He used to have a 59 Les Paul. He still has the best guitars. He trades them in, sells some of them, keeps the best ones, blah, blah, blah. So he has a great guitar collection. On the other hand, his amp, you know, I think he had a Dumble at the time as well, but he went back for, was it a Fender Deluxe Reverb, some classic 22 watt Fender amp, and put the classic thing. He uses the Occo, I have one of those as well, but somewhere, not here. Occo Diabolo overdrive pedal on a very low gain setting. He's Mr. Low Gain in a way. But yeah, this is how we can get into this territory. Okay, what else? The sound like Hilton Licks. Mega, okay. Okay, I have to listen to this afterwards. I'm not just doing an episode here, and when I listen to this later on. Get Ace Frehley or Tommy Thayer sounds. Okay, well, the first thing is hold this. You need to have the original. Oh, this is German money. No, but you have to have the original Tommy Thayer Plectrum, which
I think I have one of those.
Yeah, okay, because this is the original Kiss Tommy Thayer pick. Okay, without that pick, nothing will sound like Kiss or anything.
That's basically it.
Yeah. It's all in the pick. Okay, but just to get rid of the myth of this pick, it's just I would say 73 kind of. It's not a 1 millimeter. It's less than a 7. I think Dunlop or some company makes this gauge.
The Dunlop ones are 0.73.
Yeah. So this is how it feels to me. So what are we talking about? Kiss. Okay. Again, in my part, the good old Tommy Thayer duotone. Remember?
I do.
Yeah, we all spent many hours with Tommy in restaurants, on trade shows, having a great time. And he was Mr. Duotone. So what do we need? Let me start in the 555 position. Let's go back for like an 80s stack 1980. classic tone and put it and put the classic tone, I would say, counterclockwise as a starting point. You know what? I get this out of the picture, otherwise people think I'm using. Ah, this was the end of this power supply. I'm using this all the time. That's not enough mids. We need more. Without a boost, just gain on full.
Yeah. Interesting thing, when you turned up the mids, you immediately heard the character of the guitar. You could recognize this is the Les Paul.
Yeah, so it is. Yeah, of course, because mids is where the guitars come from.
That's where the tone is. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, this little hump here in the mids helped a lot. Stack 80 cabinet-wise, and I decided to have the treble not as much as I started with. Pretty easy.
Can I call you Tommy?
Call me Tommy. Yeah, why not? Easy. Tommy Taylor. What else is the internet wants? Frampton uses 200-watt Marshalls. Oh yes, that's very loud. And have the treble slightly higher on one head for extra air. No, yeah, but Frampton has also this nice Leslie's. You know, when we think about Peter Frampton, hey, you know the that I would go Peter Frampton. Okay, we need an older cabinet. 80s is not Peter Frampton. At least 70. Where's my talk box? I need a talk box, you know. Okay, I'm still playing with a Tommy Taylor pick. I can't play like Peter Frampton without a Peter Frampton pick. I don't know what Peter Frampton used, so actually it sounded more like yes, probably. I'm not sure. The thinner pick sounded a bit like something like that. Here the settings is 6.5, bass reduced 3, mids a bit up to 6, and the treble maybe 4 or 5 in the middle. Yeah, just roughly. Yeah, this was just my instant Peter Frampton. Oh, Buddy Blug, that's also nice. Yeah, okay. This. Can you demonstrate using Cap and Blue Box without the other?
There's a whole episode on that.
Yeah.
Go back. I don't know the number, but there's a whole episode on Blue Box and cabinets.
Yeah, absolutely. Blue Box is the easiest way to switch between cabinets and characters, and yeah, works well.
What about a funky clean sound a la Corey Wong? That's something that we should look into.
Okay.
I don't know if you have it in your head now.
Yeah. I know. I mean, I'm not a super Corey Wong expert, but basically I know what this guy is doing. We need a clean tone because Corey Wong is clean. And we start with a no delay, of course, a sparkling boost, and then maybe some... Okay, that's too bright. And that's a...
Pick up middle position. I think that's what he uses.
He uses a compressor, a touch of compression.
Yeah.
Let me get my touch of compression compressor pedal here.
So we need the power supply again, right?
Oh yeah. Or I have something here. It's okay. Oh, wait a minute. Take it easy. My bank, my power bank.
Ah, there you go.
So, as you can see, we this must be in, because that's the guitar. We're still in the switching system, and this must be out, and the other side could be.
Is that it?
That's it.
That's
thanks.
it. Yeah.
So, let's see how that works. Okay, let me try to get as close as possible without the compressor first. So, we're not kind of over equipped, just basic. Okay, next thing what I would do is I would use a Fender style cabinet, which is maybe the 212. So let me think about some. Question is it maybe need more mid?
Getting there,
yeah. Yeah, it's kind of a. So what I think is kind of in that range here is the Black 212 is exactly this cabinet behind me, which is the Fender Twin. Okay, it's down there. The camera can show it here. Here used to be the electronics, but below that there's 212 Fender Twin reverb. And this cabinet I put into the blue box. So Black 212, clean channel, without a boost. I think it's a bit boring.
Yeah.
So the boost makes it exciting. Now the question is how much boost? More boost. More boost, less volume. I'm not sure. Let's try all the way up. I go to extremes to find out if I like it. It's too saturated. No good. So boost almost to minimum. So could use a touch more treble.
I think that the treble was important for.
Anyway. Okay, so this is the AMP1 by itself. Boost is 9 o'clock. Volume is 6.5. Bass is middle position. Let's put it on 5. The mids are boosted, being on 8, and the treble is a touch more like on 6.
Which pickup are you using now?
Middle pickup.
Middle. Okay.
Is it okay?
Yeah, try the middle and the.
This.
Yeah.
That's okay?
Yeah.
You know it probably better, but you know. And the 2. Okay, me being the rock guy, but also have been working in the studio. Now you know why you need a middle pickup and why you want that woodiness quality of the middle pickup, because this is where it sits right.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the amp by itself. Now I engage the compressor. Oh. It's getting too hot. Maybe I get rid of the boost when I... Okay, my question is, this is without a boost, with a boost. Dirty, I have to reduce the volume. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, the point is this chugga chugga chugga. With a compressor, I have to work less.
Yeah.
That's no.
Yep.
Okay, so this was a quick Cory Wong. Cory uses the ego compressor. Well, I have no ego. I have a yellow today. Pickup neck. Okay, let's do the neck pickup. Okay, let's go back with the EQ. That's my guitar. It has a bit of that, I would say, steel quality. But yeah, cool. Angle Blackmore amp on Iridium AMP1. Angle Blackmore AMP1. We had one here in the episode with Frank Fleckenstein, and this was shortly before New Year's.
So was
December.
it that recent one, just a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah, in December. Look at the end of that video, I remember that. And we had the Blackmore signature amp, and I did an A-B comparison. It already exists on the Academy of Tone. Angle, Blackmore.
Yeah.
And I think we compared it to the Iridium. I think. Done too many. I haven't. Okay. Aren't you both a cap and blue box, right? Are you using both a cap and blue box? Yeah. Just curious on what some of these tones would be like with just the cap or blue box alone. Okay. What's the Nakuda 9? Okay, Nakuda 9 is asking, are we using a box and a blue box? We hear only the blue box, but I'm using the real cabinet as a load. So here's the sound. I can just simply plug the through, and we have just the amp and no cabinet anymore. And this is just the load. That's not a sound. There's no mic in front or nothing. Okay, it's getting louder.
Episode 83 was the one with Frank.
Yeah, okay,
with
check
the,
out
with the Blackmore angle thing.
William Lee, check out 83, because I'm sure we have the angle, he brought that. He has an old one which he believes is the better version, blah, blah, blah. So he brought the Holy Grail angle Blackmore. This is now AMP1 into Blue Box without any speaker connected. This is the speaker, okay? So if I put the speaker load in there, it will be less volume, okay? Because the speaker sucks up the energy, so I have to crank the amp a bit more. That's the tone that I would give you on stage, because I'm still using a cabinet on stage,
Yeah.
and the Blue Box goes to the PA. This is what you are hearing. This would be my live tone for that. And that's, the amp now feels best, because the amp sees a real proper load, you know, the real speaker as a load, but there's no mic in front of the speaker. That's all where the sound comes from, the Blue Box. So, do we have any more? Dick Dale. Yeah. A crank Fender. Yeah, crank the clean channel and...
Crank the amp and hit the strings hard.
Yeah. So this is, I mean, this is clean on 10. What did I do? Nothing. Actually, from Cory Wong, I just cranked the amp on 10, put on the reverb on 10, and beat the crap out of it. That's that's Dick Dale. Yeah. Would I change anything? No, sounds good to me. More mids and less sparkle without cap load. Ah, yeah, okay, this was the comment from Paul Schlachter. Yes, because the impedance curve of the real speaker is so complex that it gives you that extra sparkle here, and that's kind of mid-shaped. A speaker is a super complex thing. That's why I still love to do it that way. If you unplug the speaker, I already have a compensation built into the Blue Box. So the Blue Box is taking care of all that, but it's not as good as the real deal. That's what you are hearing, Paul. Exactly this. This is the difference. Yeah. How about Carlos Santana from Samba Party to Smooth? Okay. Well, Samba Party to Smooth. I don't have... Did he play an SG? I play my Les Paul. Schneedel, deedle, dwee. The biggest problem is you have to be able to play like Carlos. Nobody can. No. Okay, let's get the compressor out of the way, because he did later use a tube screamer. Or Carlos used anything. He used Dumbles, he used, you know, his modified boogies or Fenders, which became boogies. Get rid of this one here. Where are we? Ah, we are in Fender territory. Tube Screamer. I used the Tube Screamer again level on 10 to boost everything.
The clean channel.
Yeah, the clean channel. Okay. I have an internal boost which actually does a good job as well. Now I crank the internal boost. Tube Screamer. Hello. Maybe I don't need other. At the beginning I was a bit too sharp, but then when I used the tone on the Les Paul, I could get a smooth. You want a smooth? Yes. Put it to smooth and you get go smooth. Okay, to get there, you need the 50s wiring. That's the thing. A bit complicated to explain, but on the 50s wiring, you get all these classic tones when you dial back the volume here on the. Let me show you this. All the way up on tone. I'm on the neck pickup right now. So volume on 1 with that large mid hum from the Tube Screamer. So if I roll back the tone from like 10 to 6 or 7, I'm losing some mids. So, and then when I here, this is all the nuances. And be aware that, you know, the low notes on the neck pickup are a little farty because that's how it is. And this is also how Carlos sounds in that register and pickup configuration. Yeah, that's the old school tone on the clean channel. If we would go and use the vintage channel, for instance. So this is all with a Fender speaker. Let me try a different one. mids, the tweed. Too much bite. Okay, Santana. Or we go for Marshall cabinet again. My beloved 1960. Sounds a bit more modern Santana, but I like it. Any complaints? I have no idea. For me, it's pretty good. Guns N' Roses, Appetite for Destruction. Well, Slash, Les Paul, less reverb.
No reverb at all.
Yes, okay. No sound at all. Les Paul. Yeah. Do you remember any of the songs? I'm not a big paradise. Yeah. Okay. For you guys, no tube screamer. Okay, forget about that one. It's simply off. It is the internal boost on 1 o'clock. The tone is closed. Let me check. Okay, again. The boost is on 1 o'clock. The classic tone is counterclockwise. Okay, the cable. Nice. Vintage cable, very important for the tone, of course. Crackle. Yeah, and what else? The boost is 1 o'clock is on. The gain reduced again. Yeah. So not on 10, therefore on 7. And I have bass in the middle, treble a bit up, which came from Carlos. 7. And the mids at 8. Is it 8? Yeah, 7.5. And that's it. Yeah.
Yep.
So next, Guns N' Roses, Appetite for Destruction.
Yeah, just had that.
Passive treble bass wiring. What is this? Memak Niemann. Okay, wiring for Les Paul type guitars is awesome and doesn't need a treble bleed. Yeah, okay. You have treble bass pot control. I understand the thing. Yeah, the thing about Les Pauls with the right wirings is they actually can have all that kind of nice high end even without treble bleed and stuff. So that I'm using my standard 50s wiring here with good pickups and decent capacity. And hey, see it. Nice and clean and sparkling, everything, and no treble bleed, nothing. It's just, as it should be.
We have an interesting one up here, which is for someone like myself who doesn't have the opportunity to try these amps in person. Which two tones would you use to demonstrate the capability of these amps?
Ha! Well,
go back and watch the video.
Yeah. Okay. You're talking about also both amps here, Mercury and Iridium, correct? Is this? You know what? Let me do my quick demo. There's a tube screamer. It's gone. We only have Mercury and Iridium. I have only played the Mercury so far, which is a bit unfair. So I would say that the Mercury has a certain creaminess that is vintage based, which comes from my background world. Anything that you see here is my universe. And in my universe, you see tons of old, nice amps. By the way, there is a super reverb from 1964, which I actually wanted to AB as well. But anyway, let's first answer the question. So what is the thing about the Mercury? The Mercury is just a classic amp that does... yeah, listen to that. When I go for the Iridium, clean channel, Mercury, I would call that nice tonal wood, old wood. And this amp is actually, I would say this is like a bit more refined. To be fair, we need reverb. Yeah, and the amp is faster. You know, I have done a lot of kind of reducing the low end, changing the power amp design to get that amp in a way a bit more modern, but also classy. Some people think it's only made for metal. Yeah, this is how I promoted, or we promoted the amp at the beginning. But actually, it is a nice amp that is voiced with all the organic frequencies. So it's, you know, I'm playing Iridium. Is this metal? No.
What it does for clean sounds is, especially for humbuckers,
Yeah.
it makes them
Transparent.
yeah.
Mercury? Okay, I need more sparkle here to compete. Sorry. Iridium. Maybe a little bit too much treble. Let's put it in. To me, super defined tones. Mercury, more vintage, more old school. Also nice, but precision. Precision. So, and it is even more obvious when you go to like the vintage channel. Okay, vintage. Let's see where we are. This is vintage on the Iridium. Okay, this has more bass. Let's yeah.
Boost is on there.
And the boost is on. Okay, let's get rid of the boost. You know what? Put everything on 10. Put every tone control in the middle. So we have kind of, so to speak, 0 settings. That's iridium. This is iridium and this is mercury. Back to iridium. Yeah. I think the iridium is simply faster, a bit more defined, but less creamy in a way.
Yeah, a bit more aggressive also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is the starting point. And of course, the tone stack is voiced slightly different. So when I have more mids on the iridium, let's show you. Mercury, iridium. It's just
So the mids are clearly in a different position in the tonal spectrum.
yeah. And this is like, hey, this makes you even more rock star. Yeah. And, you know, it kind of even gets more extreme on the next channel and in the modern channel. You know, this is kind of, but you get the message. These are two great amps. One is a bit more warmer, creamier in a way, and the other one is still creamy and not artificially, but it's more defined, and you can scoop the tones so they are not muddy. The iridium is an amp that is so hard to get any kind of muddiness, because I designed it to be as tight and still rich in tone. Let me show you, like. You know, even with tons of gain, it's always tight and defined.
Yeah, absolutely.
But not sterile, anything like that. Alan Holdsworth lead tone. Okay, Alan Holdsworth, one of the most craziest and talented people on this planet when it comes to guitar, because this man had a unique concept. I had a pleasure to meet him, interview him, and drink beer with him. Well, if you want to play something like this, if you want to play something like this, you have to get a smooth tone, you know, like with less bite and roundness. No? Turn down. Where is it? The classic tone. Yeah, it was down. Okay. Well, anyway, we could go on. We could go on. When is the AMP available to order or purchase? We will launch it at the 3rd of June, and this is the latest moment where we tell you. And I think we will not tell you anything in advance to keep the tension. Okay, what else do we have? Neil Schon tones. Yeah, that's good. But this all has to go in the next episode.
John Skykes, Whitesnake, there's a whole episode on Whitesnake.
Yeah.
About a year ago, I
would
yeah. guess.
And here I have, where is it? Here's a famous pedal, the 87 pedal. Yeah. From Guitar Slinger, Alex, which, you know, we have used that on the last, was it the last Alex Bayreuth episode? Was he here? Or did he just give me the pedal? I can't remember. See, this is why we need the Blookipedia, because too much information. It is out here. I think you can see it on a picture. Anyway, so that's a sound, but it's also in the AMP1. What else do we have? Down tuning. Yes, this is something very, very important, especially when it comes to iridium. And we do have a great example of a baritone guitar tuned down to...
Coming soon.
To yeah. We found that this afternoon. So anyway, I have the feeling we covered some tones. We will never get all of those in this episode. No. We will do them bit by bit every week, or you know, in batches or whatever. But there is the tone finder, or whatever we call it in English.
Yeah.
Guys, if you have a good name for that. So is it a tone finder? Is it an amp finder? Is this the setting? How would you like to call this engine for looking up the tones?
And speaking about names,
the German.
When I was here last time, one of you guys made had the idea to call the knowledge base Blookipedia.
Yeah.
Which we thought was great, and we picked it up, and I think it was Hardy O. So kudos to Hardy. Thank you for that name. Mm-hmm. We were happy to pick it up. I hope you are okay with that.
Yeah. Oh, Mr. Blue. That's not me, but there's a Mr. Blue. Have you seen the video tested? Where does the tone come from in an electric guitar? Yeah. But Jim Lilly, or okay, this was the guy. Have you seen it? I have seen it.
I haven't seen the whole thing. I've heard about it, and I've seen bits of it.
Yeah. Okay, the guy took an electric guitar, and then was it a Tele or something, like a basic electric guitar design, a standard classic thing, and he took the same pickup, and he took whatever the same. He took the same strings, the same scale length, and the same pickups, and then in the end he said, yeah, it sounds exactly the same or very similar. I don't know the words. I know that theory that people always try to tell you that the wood doesn't matter. I disagree. Okay, just to make this last point here. Also, Professor Zollner in Germany did some experiments that showed how similar the signals would be using different materials or wood or whatever, if the string length and the pickup height distance to the string is the same. I do agree that this plays a total different role. If that doesn't matches, nothing is the same. And mind that even pickups have tolerances, and so on and so forth, and wires. There's a lot of kind of last percentage things going on in capacitance and so on. My point being is I found this video very interesting, but in the end, my comment is, sorry guys, the wood is still important and the frets are very, very, very important too. Because I have, how many of my BluGuitar guitars out there? Hundreds, thousands worldwide over years. And they're using the same pickups and they have all the same scale lengths because it's a Strat scale length.
Yeah.
And I can set them all to the same height and they all sound slightly different. And that's not because of the tolerance of the pickups or the strings. No, it is because of the wood. Trust me, I have had enough guitars to compare. And by doing the comparison over a, one-to-one in the same room at the same time and over years, I'm totally convinced, and I could prove it with another video myself. Don't make me do that video too, that's a lot of work, but I could prove that there is a difference in tone. And to me, unfortunately, in a way that matters, and therefore we still have to find great wood, and we have to be great craftsmen at selecting, the right wood and combination. And this has a sandwich body, or the other one has a sandwich body, blah blah. That all matters. If there wouldn't be a difference, you can fake a 59 Les Paul in a minute, but you can't.
Yeah,
that's the naked truth in my reality. Anyway, so I think time is, we are already very late. Thanks for joining in. Mind that Kai is always busy doing our Blookipedia content bits by bits. If you have anything, you can, go on our website, check for information. The sound thing is coming next, and that's a big thing for us.
Yeah, it's gonna take some time because it's a lot of information that's going in there, but we're working on it, and it's gonna be there soon.
Yeah, I'm just reading Krautrock. Somebody, the X Cloud. Yeah, that's something for the AMP-X. Yeah, but Krautrock. One day I have to do a Krautrock episode because I'm playing with some of Manny von Bohr and some other Krautrockers, Peter Bursch. They have been there in the real, and it's great stories, very different. Anyway, Krautrock rules. Okay, thanks. Yeah, blah blah blah. What is this? Anyway, thanks for joining in tonight. To next week, let's see what we are doing. I have an idea, but I don't tell you yet. And yeah, keep sending us sound requests. Every time I have some time, I will try to give you some examples.
And maybe even if you found out some settings yourselves.
Yeah.
Like if you have matched something, a particular tone, a particular sound, particular amp, if you have that information,
let us know, let us share it with you all guys.
Yeah.
Because I do my thing, but you have maybe spent all your life with a mindset to get the holy grail tone of whatever, Pat Metheny or somebody that I don't have on my list, or you have a different way to get there, and please inspire me as well. So yeah, send us that stuff, and we can all share it on our Blookipedia.
Yes.
So thanks, Kai, for being here again, and see you all guys next week. Have a good one, and see you soon. Cheers.
Cheers.